Okay, now we're going to do an episode. Did you get, okay, I'm not even going to say it. We'll just start. Hey everybody, Alvin and Chris here, Mulligans and Hackers podcast. Not sure what episode this will be, but did you get the email from Medicine Hat Golf and Country Club about the tee time bookings?
I did.
So have a look. All right, I want to talk about that.
I did, and I actually did read about it. So I did. So what did you want to talk about?
Well, because you and I are the only ones that have memberships there, we don't have a foursome that we can book.
Correct.
So if you book as members as a foursome, you get a priority booking.
Correct.
If you're a member and you don't have a foursome, you get B priority booking.
Correct.
What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's a little ridiculous. I mean, I understand where they're coming from, but at the same time, it's like...
So every other course in Medicine Hat, if you're a member, you book tee times as they come open, and you can book up to a week in advance.
Correct.
Right? And you get your tee time, and if you don't get your tee time, well, you don't get it. This lottery thing has kind of thrown me for a little loop here, especially now that it's you and me, and we're members, and we'll be a B priority tee time booking.
So for those of you guys that don't know, at the Hat, like this past season, it was our first time there, and instead of doing like most courses do, where you just book a time and you get your time or you don't get your time, here you put in for a time and they give you something within like 3 hours around it, essentially.
Right.
And I mean, we were pretty good this
I think
year.
we were pretty lucky.
We were pretty lucky. We got most of our times. Things like that was good. The changes to the lottery system, I don't love, to be honest. I mean, it's going to be monopolized by the groups of four that are just going to be going out there doing
again, the people that have been there, for decades, right? That play together, and for guys like you and me that we still want to play, but we like to play. Same thing. We like to play earlier in the morning so that we have the rest of our day,
Yep.
or it gives us the opportunity to get 36 in a day. I wasn't too happy with that email.
No, it's. I mean, I understand why they're doing it because they want to give priority to their members, but at the same time, I mean, you can't punish people for not having a full group to go out there.
Yeah, I mean,
but I mean, then again, they did say like if you get your priority booking, like if you got it this week, next week you're not necessarily going to get it.
Right.
And they took away the ability to. I never used this, but there was the ability on the lottery site or the lottery bookings for it to just automatically book like every Monday or every Tuesday or every Wednesday for the same time or whatever, right? Like for a week in advance. They took that part out. You can't just book. You have to go in and manually do it every
manually
day.
Do it and manually put yourself in the lottery.
That showed up or wouldn't show up to the booking.
Right. And again, that's a problem as well, especially if you're members. You cancel your time, because again, members aren't getting those times now. It's open to the public then, right?
Correct.
So I was going to ask you, would you consider moving for next year?
Where?
Redcliffe?
I mean, I don't mind Redcliffe, but
we had this discussion before about some of our friends play out there and their handicaps are, they're single digits, but we haven't really seen these people play. And I would like to see them play at a course like Medicine Hat to see if that performance
Redcliffe
correlates. I wasn't going to say it that way, but that's the thing.
I mean, as far as golf courses go, Redcliffe presents like the only challenge out there are the days when it's windy.
I was going to say the wind is the only thing out there that challenges.
Because I mean, it is flat and it is straight and it is open.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's a couple holes where you can get into a little bit of trouble with a little bit of trees or
up the edge of that coulee.
But for the most part, there's no trouble spots.
Yeah.
You can spray and pray, and then I mean, and I have no problem with Redcliffe because I mean, I shot 3 over there last year.
Yep, right.
And it's just like, but the other thing I don't like about Redcliffe that I really like about most golf courses, no training facility.
Yeah, there's no range.
There's a
putting green.
You go and hit into freaking bays, which is fine, but you don't get to see ball flight. You don't get to see any of that stuff. And for me, that's important.
I agree with you 100%. Because this year,
because I played Redcliffe more than any other course outside of Medicine.
Outside of Medicine Hat, yeah. because when we were talking about getting our memberships this year, if we get our memberships at Medicine Hat, we're not doing the duel with Connaught because that was a waste of time and money and
Waste
effort.
of $300 or whatever, $400.
But I'm going to get my range pass this year so that when we're not playing, I can just go spend my time at the driving range.
Yep.
So that's what I'm doing, you know. And I'm pretty sure we're going to go back to Medicine. I just wanted to throw that question out there to you, because again, it's priority booking. Like I like to book. I like to know when my tee times are.
Yes.
Right?
And I mean, we get them 5 days beforehand.
Yeah.
So it's not horrible, but I mean, as far as golf courses in the city go, like I would argue Redcliffe's probably easier than Cottonwood. Because Cottonwood, while shorter, there's a lot more tricky spots that you can't.
There's a lot more trouble areas at
like
Cottonwood.
Redcliffe, you can just, like I say, you can just pound it out there. Like there's not a lot of trees, there's not a lot of water, there's not a lot of. Again, the days where it's super windy, yes, that is a difficult golf course.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. That's
and it's windy out there a lot.
Not as windy as I thought it was though. Like I played a lot of rounds with my buddy Kurt, who's a member out there, and like I seem to remember it being crazy windy out there all the time. And we played out there this year probably a dozen times, and maybe once or twice was super windy.
Interesting. Because again, that was one of the knocks that, because I know a ton of members from out there that goes through work and they were like, it's always windy out there. Like even when it's calm everywhere in the city, it is windy at Redcliffe.
Yeah, well, you're on the top of the coulee, right? And I mean, and then the other thing is their greens are flat.
Like
flat.
Yeah, you're right.
And slow.
Yeah.
Like there is no speed to them. Like you play there and then you go play Medicine Hat. It's like, oh my god, now I'm playing on like a roller coaster. It's
kind of like going from Medicine Hat to Desert Bloom greens.
There's not as big of a difference between those two as like Redcliffe to Medicine Hat. Like Desert Bloom runs a little bit higher on the stimp meter than Medicine Hat, but Medicine Hat's at least break true. Like you know where they're gonna break, and they break nicely. So I mean, again, Desert Bloom is similar in that regard. I mean, it's usually windy out there because it's in a coulee. There's one fucking tree on the entire golf course.
Yeah, and that's on hole number 1.
And the greens are quick, but other than that, there's not a lot of trouble.
Well, shot shapes, I would argue Desert Bloom's a little more troubling.
Yeah, you have to be a little bit smarter about your like approach shots and stuff.
Yeah.
But overall, like I mean, it's not like there's if you miss left here, you're OB every time. If you miss right here, you're OB every time.
Kind of like Cottonwood.
Yeah.
Where if you're right, you're OB all the time.
Well, and I mean, Redcliffe, you can just spray it all around and just do your thing.
But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up and see what you thought about that. If you would consider going somewhere else, but like, I mean, Medicine Hat for what we're trying to do in our golf world, Medicine Hat offers us every advantage to making our game better.
Yeah, for me, the training facility is just so much more important
because they have
the nicest one in the city.
They have the nice driving range. They have the chipping and sand green where you can work on your sand game and work on your chipping game, and then they have the legitimate putting green for practicing putting. The facilities there are top notch.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, well worth it. I mean, they're
oh, stop that shit.
They are. It's just well designed. Like I mean, I can go and spend, and I mean, I do. I spend like an hour and a half before every round on them usually, and then I mean, sometimes on my range days, I'll spend a couple hours just working on different things, and you know, you can actually see the ball flight. Yes, their range is only like I think 250 yards long, maybe or 240 yards long, but
that's good for me.
It's good for most people. I mean, it's good for me too. Usually, I mean, if I'm hitting the netting at the back of the range and it's going straight, well, that's good.
Yeah, you bet.
There's nothing wrong with that.
All right. Well, I think we're probably set up to go back to Medicine Hat next year, right?
Yeah. Well, that's the plan anyway.
That is the plan. But again, that priority booking is just, you know, we had some not that we had issues, but
I think we only got screwed over like twice.
I don't think it was screwed over. I think twice we got tee times later than 10 o'clock, maybe.
Yeah, they were like 11.
Yeah, so
like,
we didn't get bumped to the afternoon.
Like only twice did we ask for like 8 o'clock or 8:30, and we got like 11 o'clock.
Yeah. And then we during probably the second half of the season, we started going down to playing another 9 in the afternoon when the tee sheet was pretty empty. So,
well, and that's the other thing, right? Like, I mean, if the tee sheet, if you book the day of, you can get whatever time you want.
Yeah.
So, I mean, once it's open on, oftentimes late Saturdays or like especially late Sundays when everybody is at home and not a lot of people are going out, you can go play another 9, no problem.
And especially when it's hot.
Yep.
When it starts to get hot here in the summer.
People don't like to play golf in crazy hot, and they don't like to play golf in cold.
Yeah.
It's like people here are very much like Alvin used to be as a fair weather golfer.
I'm still a fair weather golfer, but I'm just more equipped to deal with the elements now than I was probably a year ago.
Well, that's good. At least you're making baby steps.
Baby steps, right? Always baby steps for this guy. No, I don't take too many leaps forward in anything. It's always baby steps, tiptoeing into it.
Oh,
but
well, yeah, no. So we'll be back in Medicine Hat next year, which is good. I'm excited to go back, and we made that jump this past year, and it was awesome. It was
and again, I'll speak for you on this, for both of us. It was the best decision we've made to help our golf game since we started.
Yeah, I mean,
3 years ago,
career best out there at 80 out there
80s,
on the golf course, right?
Yeah,
and I mean, it took us a little bit of time to just figure out our way around, but once we did, we were good to go.
You bet. And again, it's just play the course, and the more you play the course, the more you find the more you know where you don't want to be.
Yeah, where you don't want to be, where you want to leave your ball for different shots, right? Like what can be in your way. Where's an acceptable miss, where's not an acceptable miss, kind of thing.
And there's some holes there that are like number 3. That's a straightaway par 5. That if you have a good tee shot, you might be able to get there into, because early in the season you had a few eagle opportunities there.
Yeah, I mean, and with the wind help, because I mean, early in the year you get a lot of the weather helping, and usually it's helping on that hole.
And hole number 4, where if you go right, you're OB, right? If you're out past that bunker on the right, it's OB. But if you play it up to the left and play it off the hill, you'll pretty much center the green all the time, right? If you just take it over that left hill, figuring out those type of things. Yeah, it was a really good decision for us to go to that course. I didn't play Cottonwood at all last year. Oh yes, I did.
Yeah,
Halo tournament.
We did for the Halo.
tournament.
But other than that, we didn't get back there. We should have. Or no, I got back there one other time.
Yeah, I think you got back there one more time.
I mean, I went back there and I think I birdied the first hole I played, and I'm like, oh yeah, back to playing like normal. So it's just one of it's like old hack. I think I had like a 4.5 birdie putt.
I know we played the Halo tournament there, and we talk about how our games are evolving a little bit. And hole number 2, which was always kind of a hit or miss hole for the 3 years we played there, and I hit my drive on hole number 2, and I cleared the shit on the right and put it in the bunker. Just past the shit where I've never been able to put it. I've never been able to hit it that far. Longer than I've ever hit it. And when I cleared that, and we kind of got down, and we were looking for it, and when we found it in that bunker, I was like, I have never hit a drive that far on this hole in the 3 years combined that we played here.
Yeah.
So I just think moving to Medicine Hat has elevated our game to the point where it keeps us learning, keeps us trying to get better in the game, right?
Yeah. It's focused on or really, I guess it's really honed in and showed us where our strengths are and where the holes in our game where we really need to work on are, right? Like, I mean, speaking for me, like, I know when I'm hitting my driver well, it's a different game. Like, my approach shots and putting are so good that if I'm hitting my driver well, man, I can lay down a good score.
You bet.
And out there, I have the opportunity every hole I can hit my driver if I want, right? Like every par 4, par 5, I don't need to, but towards the end of the year, I'm doing it. I'm hitting it every time. Try and give myself an advantage. And, really, really working on it over the season. And, I had blips of consistency, which were really good. And then, times where I was struggling a little bit, but I think I figured some things out. And I mean, again, we're going to have to go relearn how to hit the golf ball again. But,
it might not take us that long now. Once we get back into swinging the clubs here in simulator season time, it might not take us that long to get back into it. And hopefully we'll have that little bit of advantage when the season starts, that we won't have to relearn everything.
Hopefully not. And I mean, for you, it was, you're so consistent off the tee. It's just putting your approach shots at good spots.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Like, and not, in certain holes, not leaving yourself where you make a good shot, but you leave yourself some trouble to get around.
Yeah,
like hole 2, for example.
Yep.
You end up too far right, and then you're under the tree, or you're behind it, and you can't go anywhere. So you learn to kind of just go a little bit more left, and then you have the whole green to work with. You can do whatever you want and make a really nice shot.
Yeah, and again, some of my better rounds that I played this year, my greens in regulation were low, but my chipping was really good. It got me into par territory, or at worst bogey territory, right?
Yeah.
If my chipping was off, then that's when I started to add strokes. If I wasn't hitting greens and reg, right?
Yeah. That's one way to get your putts down, right? Like chipping, like if your approach shots are tight, that's one way. But if you're chipping really well, then you're going to knock your strokes down on your putts too, right?
Yeah.
So, I had a couple of rounds this year where I was like 25, 26, 27 putts, and I'm like, yeah, that's where I want to be.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't want to be in that 32 to 36 range. I'm happy with that, but I would like to ideally be in that mid 20s range, because that means I should have a good score going.
Yeah. And again, my fairways in regulation is always high. My greens in regulation was always, not where I wanted it to be, but I did start taking a little bit of that advice from just listening to people. Take that extra club, get there.
Yep.
Don't swing easy.
Yep.
Get there. Make sure that you can get there. Like if you're in between an 8 and a 9 iron, take the 8 iron. Take the 8 iron, right?
Yeah.
Put it off the back. Don't leave it short on the front.
Yep.
And that actually, when I started doing that, my greens and regulation actually did.
Well, because if you hit it, it's probably still going to be on.
Right. You're there. And again, a little chip back maybe would be better than trying to bump and run it to the hole, right? But that's just learning, right? Just learning your game, and okay, maybe my game isn't so greens and regulation, but it's off the tee box and my chipping game.
Yep.
Right. Okay. Well, I'll take that, and my putting got better this year by an astronomical percentage, in my opinion. But yeah, I'll take that game all day.
Yeah, it's again, I just gotta say, it was just nice to play a course where it challenged you in just about every way possible, right?
Well, you had to work on all the aspects of your game, right? For you, like working on your driver off the tee. Me, I'm pretty consistent off the tee box, but my approach game, it gave me the opportunity to work on my approach game the entire year.
Yep.
Right?
Every hole. Yep.
Every hole, right? And then, when I wasn't hitting greens and reg, then I'm working on my short game. And when I was hitting greens and regulation, well, now I'm working on my putting, because I'm, very rarely am I tight. I'm in 2-putt territory, probably 3-putt territory, right? So it forced me to work on my putting as well, right?
Yep,
so
sure.
That's what I appreciated about being at Medicine Hat this year. All aspects of the game.
Yeah, again, it was one of the best decisions we've ever made.
And walking the course was a good decision as well.
Oh yeah, it's just a different animal, and it's so good for your body and your mind.
Yep,
just
I agree.
A different experience, right? I enjoy karting once in a while when we're with everybody or whatever. But if it's if we're out there walking, and you can just enjoy your 4 hours, it's
nice. You're in my opinion, you focus more on your own game, because you're just going to your ball. You're not in a cart driving to two people's balls. You're just going to you're in your game.
Yeah, you make a shot, and you have the entire time that it takes you to walk there to think about what you can do next or whatever.
Where you want to be.
10 seconds later, you're at the ball, and you're like, okay, let's go again.
I'm a firm believer in walking. And I like my little
It's
R2.
interesting because there for a while you were saying you played better with the cart or in the mid-season because you were less fatigued, right?
Yeah.
But it's mentally, I've noticed that the last couple of years too. There were certain places that I'd play that I'd walk instead of cart. Even when we went to Mickelson, I walked. I was like, I want to walk. That one was a little bit of fun to walk.
Well, it wasn't great conditions
It wasn't
either.
as nice to walk as I thought it was going to be, but it was still good. And if it was a nice day, it probably wouldn't.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back there next year.
Yeah, man, it's just more experiences coming our way and doing some different things and playing in some more different courses and just seeing if we can continue to grow our golf games from where they are now. We set some pretty lofty. We managed to reach some goals this year. it'll be interesting to see if we can maintain or get those handicaps even lower.
Yep.
Because I mean, it's easy to get them down a certain way, but then to improve it or maintain it gets harder.
And again, I got my handicap got down to the lowest it's ever been, but I did not finish the season at the lowest it's ever been. But that's just that little progression, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's usually the handicaps do this.
You
generally.
bet, and it's a goal you and I both had. I didn't get the single digits, but you did, right? And that's just goals that we accomplish. That when we look at our Canada Golf app, it's there. Lowest handicap index ever is there, right?
Yep.
For both of us.
And I mean, it's nice to see, right? But I mean, again, we always talk about our golf games, and generally speaking, like we always pretty much agree that you're about a year behind me.
Yes.
When it comes to your game, whether it's the club fitting or different things like that. So I would expect next year probably you're going to see your big jump, right?
Yep.
And I'm going to have to. I mean, I should have a good year too, but I'm going to have to work a little harder because it gets harder to get it down the closer you get to zero, right?
You bet. And yeah, I'm still looking at that golf fitting in the new year here, and a little bit more things to kind of tweak my game a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's exciting, and I mean, I can't wait to see where the next season takes us. But we'll be back at the Hat, and we'll be raring to go come May.
Oh, May. That's such a long ways away.
Yeah, it's a long ways away. But I mean, once my volleyball season starts, it'll feel like it's tomorrow.
Yeah, for you. For me, I'm still going to be here twiddling my thumbs doing jack shit.
But
anyways, there it is.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for
See you later.
Bye.